Cheers to 50 years.
Cheers to
Cheers
50
to
years.
50 years.
To start us off, I don't think that we're actually going to need to guide you very much in this at all. Would you like to tell us, everyone, a little bit about you, who you are, why we're doing this?
Yeah.
How did it all come about?
So 1976 was probably the year that shaped my life. It was 50 years ago this year. And three things happened in that year that really formed who I am and my journey in life. And the first of those things was 50 years ago this year, my parents purchased the Emerald Beach Caravan Park, and I moved to the beautiful Emerald Beach. Also that year, I was introduced to tourism, and my love of tourism is just as strong today as it was 50 years ago. I still find it such a fabulous industry to be in. And the third thing that happened 50 years ago was I bought my very first cheese making book. And the rest of that, well, that's history.
One of the things that you're a bit of a local or even national icon for is everything that you have achieved in cheese making. That in and of itself is an incredible story. So from purchasing your first cheese recipe book, how did that happen to lead to everything that you've created? Multiple cookbooks, an incredibly successful business, you know.
Internationally published author.
Internationally published author, TV appearances, all of those things. Like, that's a lot.
It is, but it doesn't seem like a lot. It's just all happened day by day. So my very first cheese making book came about. I was running a health food shop in High Street, and it was called the Nut House, and I was the biggest nut. And and anyway, I'd kind of dabbled in making tofu and that kind of thing, and I knew what good cheese was. I knew what Parmigiano Reggiano was. Before moving to Coffs Harbour in 1976, I was living in an area in Sydney that had a lot of Italians in it. And they ate Parmigiano Reggiano. And when I came to Coffs Harbour, you could get craft cheese in a little blue box on the supermarket shelf. Now, I know cheese is not meant to be sold on the supermarket shelf, so I don't know what it was. But anyway, I opened this health food shop with a couple of fellows at a very young age of 18, and bought in books to sell, and one of the books that I bought in was cheese making, and I thought, well, I can do that. So my first go at making cheese was I picked up some milk from a dairy farmer out in the Urara Valley, fresh from the cow, stopped in at Cox Brothers, which was in High Street at the time, and bought some junket tablets, which are rennet tablets, and took it back to the caravan park at Emerald Beach, and I said to my dad, I'm going to make cheese, I've got the book, this is going to be easy. And he said, what do you need? Because he was always very helpful. And I said, I need something to put the curd in once I've got the curd. And neither of us knew what we were talking about. And I said, look, the book shows that if you drill holes in a can, I can use that. So we got a baked bean can, and he drilled some holes in it, and I got rusty cheese. So that was my first introduction to cheese making. Thank goodness I've come a long way since then. So, but you know, my love of food and making food from scratch, it's really important for me to know what's going into the food that I'm consuming. Sustainability has always been something that's been very, very dear to me. And so, you know, I persevered. And it wasn't until, 20 odd years ago that I was introduced to freeze-dried lactic bacteria. And the freeze-dried lactic bacteria, they replace the bacteria that's been removed through pasteurization. And they enable you to be able to make different cheeses anywhere in the world. So they are also responsible for giving your product its flavour and characteristics. So prior to these things being available, which these have been available to the commercial industry since the Industrial Revolution, but not to the home cheesemaker. So prior to these things becoming available, cheddar could only be made in cheddar, Edam could only be made in Edam, and brie could only be made in brie.
Wow.
So once I,
Globalization of cheese.
yes, absolutely.
Totally.
So once I was introduced to these freeze-dried lactic bacteria, then my cheese making really took off. And I started teaching people how to make cheese from my kitchen at home in January 2009. And it was later that year that we realised that that just wasn't going to be something that was going to be sustainable for very long. So I built my little studio kitchen and separate from the house, and I've been running cheese making classes ever since.
And I have to say, if you have not done one of Lyndall's classes, you are absolutely missing out, because not only are they incredible, she is also the best cook I have ever met in my entire life. And part of that is after you finish cooking, you get to have lunch with Lyndall, and it is the best, most delicious, most beautiful thing you will ever do. So if you haven't done that already, although you'll have to book in, because I do believe she books out, but it is
She is
something, yes, something you need to do if you are living or visiting the Coffs Coast ever. And I guess visiting the Coffs Coast is something that you're also very passionate about.
Oh, look, I am. You know, I mean, we live in paradise, and you know, we even name our beaches after jewels, emerald and sapphire, and you know, it's just an amazing environment to live in. You know, everybody says we have the mountains meet the sea, but really, do you understand what that means when you say we have the mountains meet the sea? I mean, I can be down walking along the beach in the morning, and 10 minutes later, walking through subtropical rainforest. And it's, you know, like, and swimming in the ocean to swimming in waterfalls in no time. It really is a unique place. And having such a unique place gives us such a unique environment to grow so many different foods as well. And that's another passion of mine is food, obviously, growing my own food from scratch. And if you come to my property, my artisan garden, I have, you know, bananas, pawpaw, you know, massive big veggie garden that we eat out of. But yeah, where you were leading to, the other thing that was tourism. And yes, tourism is so dear to my heart. I think it is a fabulous industry to be in. You know, like you're meeting the most wonderful people. They're here on holidays, so they're having fun. They're excited to be here. They love to hear about what we have to offer. Knowing the area so well, I can always tell people, whatever their interest is, that there is an activity out there for them in our gorgeous Coffs Coast.
And you have actually been pretty integral in the tourism industry outside of just even your own business, but in guiding that. You've sat on committees, Destination Coffs Coast Committee, you've advised in lots of different tourism capacities as well.
Yeah.
And I think that knowledge is something that we're so very lucky to have here on the Coffs Coast, people who are passionate about it, but also who have that understanding of it. And I think that passion is maybe inherited.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I did mention that what brought me to this region was my parents bought the Emerald Beach Caravan Park in 1976. And one of the first things that we did was join the Tourism Association. And look, you know, we just used to have so much fun. It was promoting Coffs, and yes, some of it was hard work. But look, in 1978, I think it was, we had the Banana Republic. Now, I don't know if anybody would remember the Banana Republic, but we were overtaking Coffs Harbour. We had our own money. Banana money. Gary Neal, who was the then National Party member for Coffs Harbour, he was our presidente. And I can remember one day where we overthrew the big banana, and we were coming down the hill coming down from Coffs into the big banana, and all the banana vehicles, you know, were covered in banana palms, and
We've got photographic evidence, don't worry.
and everybody was, there was people piled in the back of the utes and the things, and like everybody, yay, the Banana Republic came down the towards the big banana and turned into the big banana, and Gary Neal was in front of the big banana and is, we've got this, we've overtaken the big banana, and we're all down there in the crowd going, yay. And then we had the Battle of the Bridge. And the Battle of the Bridge was on the bridge going over to the Emerald Beach Caravan Park, and we were being attacked by land and water. And anyway, but we had our trusty banana cannon, a paper mache banana cannon that fired bananas that saved the day. Look, it was just so much fun. You just had to be there to actually believe that you could be doing these ridiculous things. And one of the things that my dad and I used to do as part of the Big Banana is he had a big banana yellow F100, and we used to put the barbecue onto the back of the F100, and we drive out to Armadale on a Saturday. We'd be up very early in the morning, and we'd get to Armadale, and just as all the shoppers were heading into the mall, and we'd unpack our trusty barbecue and fry up bananas and give all the passers-by some barbecued bananas and hand out Banana Republic money, which they would then be able to come over to Coffs and spend.
How brilliant is that as a tourism strategy? Like, you just think sometimes it is the simplest or, most creative or out-of-the-box ideas that actually have the biggest impact. And I think things like that now, like, we've sat at the same tables discussing how to get more people to Coffs Harbour and strategies and promotions and all of those things. But, what about if we went back to doing fun things like that? Get a barbecue, go out to Armadale. If people have money that they can spend when they come to Coffs Harbour, then where are they gonna come? I think that's so somewhere along the way when we're trying to get all fancy and technological, I think we kind of lost
that real genuine human
connection.
People to people.
Yeah.
What would you like to, if we were to bring the Banana Republic back, and I hope we do this quietly, what would you like to see happen?
Well, it's 1978, so another 2 years, and we'll be 50 years since the first takeover of the Coffs Harbour with the Banana Republic. So we could take the big banana. Watch out, Michael. So look, I don't know. Look, you'd have to have the enthusiasm. Everybody in town was on board. Like, I look at the photos of it, and I see people that were my age that are there, and they're involved, and we were just having fun. So, like, there was no pretentiousness to it. We were just teenagers. I mean, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and we were just out there having a ball. And putting on our Banana Republic uniforms was just an excuse.
Oh, and you should see them. They are brilliant.
And the paper mache banana cannon. I mean, I think there needs to be something with this.
Yeah, it was just fun. But you need for people to be enthusiastic, and to have that passion for this glorious place where we live, and not to expect anything for actually doing it. Like, we just all did it because we loved our town. We did it because it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There was no rewards for it. It was just having fun.
Yeah, and I think that's it. If you can build pride in where you live, and you can create connection and bring people together by doing these fun things. Like, I reckon if we organised another takeover of the Big Banana and the Battle of the Bridges and the land and the sea, I reckon we could take over the highway.
Well, look, recently we had the banana thing down at the Jetty Beach, where we had the biggest banana made with people. I mean,
maybe we could take over the jetty. We could have a battle of the jetty instead of a battle.
Oh, attacked by land and water with that banana mache cannon. Yeah. Look, we did have things. We had the raft race. That was fun. And that leads me to another thing that we did when Mum and Dad had the caravan park, was we had the steel wheel tractor race. Now, this was crazy. I think we had about 8 steel wheel tractors of our own. My dad, he had this thing about collecting things. When he was into boats, he had 7. Nothing big, nothing palatial, just, like Manly Juniors, runabouts, but he just had to have the right boat for every instance. And so then when we moved up here, my sister and I actually bought him his first steel wheel tractor. He'd spotted it out at a property out at Glenray. And anyway, the fellow said, no, I don't want to sell it. So my sister and I went out there in our bikinis and he sold it to us.
Getting it done. Ladies know how to get it done.
So anyway, that was his first steel wheel tractor. And anyway, then he was on this mission to get all these different steel wheel tractors. And there was a few of his mates that had their own. And Paul Pureheart, his racing name, he had his own steel wheel tractor. So anyway, we had this steel wheel tractor race, and the course was roughly set out. So the Emerald Beach Caravan Park is set on 10 acres, and so there was land that wasn't set up as a caravan park at the time. So we had this course set out, and the protection barrier for the 1,000-odd people that used to come and see the race was a piece of telecon rope that went around, and that was the barrier that kept you safe from all these big steel wheel tractors. And it was madness. It was absolute madness. There was all these steel wheel tractor races going over dimps and dups and hollows, and then they had the ladies race, and all the ladies came out in their scarves, and we had, flying things on the wheels of the tractors, and it was fun.
It sounds like so much fun. I love that. And that would have been such a cool atmosphere to be a part of. Like, obviously your family had that, and they created so much joy for not just the visitors to the park, but the community themselves as well.
Yeah.
I think maybe that is another one of those secrets to the success of tourism and creating communities that people want to live and visit. It's the passion, it's the people that are willing to do it for their clients, the people visiting, but also to do it where they can include the locals as well, because that's what adds the
connection, community.
Yes. So, and Emerald Beach. I mean, I'm still here. I'm still living at Emerald Beach. And I can't imagine living anywhere else. I mean, I'm on the western side of the highway of Emerald Beach now, but when I'm walking my dog, it's at Emerald Beach. I just can't think of a more beautiful place to live. Yeah. And, I've been here now 50 years, and I'll be spending the rest of my time.
Another 50.
You've got another 50 in your ear.
Yeah. We'll push you down.
Yeah.
What's been your favourite thing that you have achieved in the last 50 years?
Oh, look, the thing that's brought me the most amount of joy is being able to share my knowledge on creating your own beautiful gourmet cheeses at home. And knowing that I have literally thousands of people that are replicating their own cheeses in their own kitchens. And, and it's giving that, it's a bit empowering, being sustainable, that you don't know that you don't have to go down to the supermarket to get everything that you consume, like taking a bit of responsibility for the food that you consume. That's another thing, is like educating people that they need to do that. They need to take responsibility for what they're consuming, that life's just not a handout. You do need to do things for yourself, and creating your own meals, growing your own vegetables or herbs. Even if you're living in a unit, you can still produce a little bit of food, and it's so satisfying. It really is empowering. It's when you can walk out the door and pick some herbs, and just it's a lovely thing to be able to do.
Yeah, and you know what? That's quite sage and wise advice, that there are little things that people can do if they want to embrace sustainability.
Yeah.
And so you've mentioned a couple of things there. What else can people do then? If that's something that you're passionate about, if you could give people advice on what they can do to take some personal responsibility and start to make those changes, where should they start?
Look, just you don't have to do a lot. If you eat yogurt, just learn how to make your own yogurt. A tub of yogurt is going to cost you, I don't know, I don't buy yogurt. I have no idea. $7 for a kilo of yogurt?
Yeah, ish.
Yeah?
Let's go
So,
with that.
yeah, so you can make it for about $2.
Yeah.
And you know what's gone into it. You know that the bacteria that is in the yogurt, because yogurt is made with bacteria, you know that bacteria is really good and strong. So you know that it's really active and good for your gut health. And just do one thing. Learn to do one thing, and then that becomes routine. And then once that has become routine, then you go, oh, well, I might be able to make something else. Like sourdough is a big thing. Everybody wants to make their own sourdough, so they spend Sunday making sourdough. And then they've got their bread for the week. So it's just whatever it is that that you want to learn to make, or you're thinking we eat a lot of this, and it's costing us a fortune. Like my new class, I'm teaching people how to make cottage cheese, cream cheese,
Really good.
mascarpone yogurt, and turning the yogurt into labna. But cottage cheese, if you're going to the gym and everybody's eating cottage cheese and you can't find it on the supermarket shelf, well, I'm making 800. Oh, look, I'd have to give you the exact figures, but like it's cheap. Like 2 litres of milk is going to give you a week's worth of cottage cheese.
Yeah, right.
Well,
And I mean, you can
the
buy
average
little ones
person.
in like a little cottage cheese in Woolies is like $6.
Well, it'll do 2 to 3 times that amount. I'd have to give you the exact things. Yeah.
Still
you're
cost
getting
effective.
Cost effective, and
Yeah.
you know exactly what's going
Yeah.
into it as well.
Yeah. And if you that's the other thing about producing your own things at home, is that it not only is it good nutritionally to be able to produce your own food at home, but the cost savings are huge.
Yeah.
And I think cost of living is impacting so many people as well. So I think
Yeah.
investing in yourself to learn something like to do these courses or things like this, so that then you know the exact way to do it, as opposed to, yes, we can all watch a TikTok or whatever and see someone else do it, but
The
then
hands-on experience.
Exactly, and then all the trial and error. Whereas if you can come and learn from someone who's a professional and shows you how to do it, then that's I think investing in ourselves and then investing in sustainability and making things a little bit cheaper.
And welcome tourists.
Welcome tourists.
Yeah, the other day I was over at Emerald Beach, and all these tourists were looking at the kangaroos, and I'm looking down, and the turtles popping up. And I'm going, you're all looking at the kangaroos. There's a barmeni kite up there. There's a turtle down there. Look, here's a pot of dolphins. It's like, come over here.
Yeah.
So I called them over, and they're going, wow, I would never have seen that. So yeah.
I think there have been some cool initiatives like that over time. I remember it's not funded anymore, but I know that for a while there, the council funded those free tours with the guides where they could go to Emerald. I did one with the kids where you could go and you could look at all the turtles, and so they were doing the nature-based tourism, which is cool. So I think
Yeah.
but maybe people can take that over. The locals can
Yes.
do tour guides.
Yeah.
What would be the thing that you've noticed the most in how we have grown? If you've been here for such a extended period of time, what have you noticed as we've grown and changed as a local community?
The town of Woolgoolga community is something that just shines, and Emerald Beach. I think that the communities that we have in both Emerald and Woolgoolga are just amazing. I would like to see a little bit more of that in Coffs. I find Coffs is it's a bit city-like.
Yeah.
I think it's all positive. I mean, you can't hold back time. I think that everything has to grow, and I think that Woolgoolga is just such a beautiful town, and the beaches surrounding Woolgoolga, the community that is there. I just think it's just a wonderful place to live.
You can't hold back time. I like that one.
No, and I think that's really important too. Often people, especially long-time locals, seem to have the mentality that we don't want things to change. We want things to stay the same, which is unfortunately not possible. It's harder to keep things the same as than it is to embrace the change and be part of shaping it in a way that keeps that village atmosphere, but also allows for more people to come and be here. So it does make sense.
And you know, like I take my hat off to Lisa and Brad and, you know, Woopi News, you know, and you, Tegan. You know, like it's amazing the amount of time that is put in. And this is getting back to, you know, what we used to do with the Banana Republic. You know, like it's your time. It's, you know, it's Lisa's time. I mean, Lisa's everywhere. And she's
Part of
just
everything.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's you know, she's doing what we were doing as a massive group. And you've got Fluoro Friday and all the people that are involved in that, and yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing as well. And you know, you mentioned Emerald and Woopi having really great communities, and that's the thing, is that when we have a community and people choose to be part of it, often there's a misconception around volunteering, and people think, oh, you know, I'm giving up my time to do this or whatever. You're actually getting way more than you give. And statistically, it's considered, like, you know, the health benefits, the connection, loneliness, all of the reductions. You get 6 times more out of it than you give. And for every $1 that's invested into volunteering, it's $2 returned to the local economy. So it is definitely, you know, it is worth it to be part of those things. And you're right, it does make things very, very special.
And I think if we look at it, if you give, you receive, you know, rather than give and take.
100%. See, more wise words, wise words.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, did you want to tell us anything about how you came to be an internationally acclaimed cookbook author?
Okay, all right. I wrote my first cheese making book in, I think it was published in 2012, and then published again in, I think, 2014, and then in 2018 I had somebody approach New Holland Publishers on my behalf, and they jumped at the chance to publish my book, and it was published in Australia, United States, the United Kingdom and New Zealand, and then the second print run was done in 2020. But I think the funniest story about me writing a book is that I am the most dyslexic person on the planet. I have trouble with the smallest words sometimes. I get a block and I can't remember how to spell that. You know, I really am, I'm the worst speller, totally dyslexic. And so when I first said that I was going to write a book, it was the biggest family joke you've ever heard. Like, you're going to write a book, you can't even spell your own name.
Well, that's pretty cool. And I mean, that's really affirming for people to hear, that sometimes, you know, even with limitations that we have or perceive that we have, that we can go on to do incredible things and be hugely successful.
Yeah, and never give up.
Exactly.
Follow your passion, just, you know.
And I think that is quite possibly your secret to all of the impact that you have had and all the cool things that you've done. You just follow the things that you love and you just go about it, and I don't think anyone could tell you no.
No, she initiates things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything with me, Mel? Are we doing all that?
No. The only thing that pops into my mind about tourism was the duck race. Was like, you know, you said the Banana Republic, you talk about the things, but you didn't, like, they're yellow. They're the same colour.
I'm down if we make a duck race. I'm here for that.
Yeah, I'm okay with the duck race. So, but it used to be when they used to dredge Coffs Creek. And so, and I can't remember.
I think I've vaguely heard about this before. They used to let ducks go? Yeah.
She was the organiser.
Oh my God, of course you were.
So that was the only thing, because I was like, that was a lot of fun, and there'd be like people at the end catching ducks.
So how the duck race came about was Mel was in Coffs Harbour Pony Club, and we used to send a team to New Zealand every year. And so we used to do these fundraising things. So I approached the Coffs Harbour Rotary Club, and I said, look, I've got this idea. I can get the ducks. If you help me run a duck race, and if we keep the proceeds for the first 3 years for the Pony Club, and then I'll hand it over to you. So Rotary were, yeah, sure, why not? What's going to float a few ducks down Coffs Harbour Creek? Can't be too hard.
Anyway,
Didn't tell them there was
deep.
2,000.
Of course it was. That's so good.
And it was deep and it was fast moving.
Very fast moving.
It was not the same as what it is now. It's
So-
like right along the rock wall, and it was deep and it moved.
Where if
You
were
would do
to
it on the
have-
outgoing
if we were
tide.
to have a duck race somewhere, where should we have one? Red Rock? Would Red Rock
Yeah.
Rock would be better.
Yeah, yeah. You just need a bit of a boom gate because people's arms wasn't enough to catch all the
You
ducks.
just need some like
Maybe
Yeah.
if we had the
Netting.
surf club. Hi, Red Rock Surf Club. Are you?
Yeah.
That's
or if
great.
they dredged Coffs Creek would work.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know whether that is
Or Sawtell might work.
Mooney.
Sawtell. We would.
Yeah, Red Rock works so.
Mooney could work though. I think Mooney.
Yeah.
Where are
Could
the other
work.
creeks? Yeah.
Yeah. Or but Red Rock would.
I mean, if Woolgoolga Lake was open, but that's a bit
Hit and miss.
miss. Yeah. So right, so we've got a plan of action. Bring back the banana republic.
And the duck
and
race.
the duck race. Right, okay. We're on it.
They could be all part of the one event.
Yes. Yes, it's a battle, the land and sea battle, and the duck race.
Yeah.
Finish with the duck race to bring everyone back together.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Well, one more. I'll do one more serious question, and then we can wrap up. But classes that you're running at the moment, tell me more about those, because that feels like that's kind of grown and evolved from the cheese making into a whole host of different types of cheese making classes. But then I know you've got your pizza and your pasta, and you mentioned the yogurt and the cottage cheese. So tell us, what's the full range of?
So I run, I think it's 7 different classes. They're all the classes are 2.5 hours, and
Okay.
a lot of people go, well, you know, how do you make cheese in 2.5 hours? But it's how I organise the class. So I always have, well, not always, depending on the cheese that we're making. On, you know, I've done a stage that I've prepared earlier, because I mean, making cheese is like watching paint dry.
A little bit more interesting than that.
You can see.
Yeah, like you're watching it, it doesn't do much when you're
No,
looking at it.
no. So I'll have, you know, they'll do every single step,
Yep.
but I will already have the curd set. So things like that, so that it keeps it flowing. So all my classes are 2.5 hours. My new class is cottage cheese, cream cheese, or it's quark actually, but most people don't know what quark is, so we'll just call it cream cheese.
What's the difference between cream
So
and cheese?
quark is a lot lighter. It's the bacteria is really fresh in it. It's not heavy and dense like cream cheese, and it's got a lot of health benefits to it. So there's a lot of acclaim that goes with quark, and people that have cooked with quark. Especially to make a cheesecake, because if you try a German cheesecake compared with an American cheesecake, the German cheesecake is really, really nice and light because that's where quark originated from.
Okay.
Whereas a American cheesecake is really heavy and dense. People are often looking for quark because it's much nicer to cook with than cream cheese. So it's cottage cheese, cream cheese, or quark. Mascarpone, and mascarpone is like an Italian sour cream. So you can use that anywhere you would use sour cream. And then yogurt, and then the yogurt we turn that into labna.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, and then each one of those things I showcase in the class, as in all my classes, so they become a part of the cheese-inspired lunch that is served.
Which is delicious.
So there is that new class, and then you can do a double cream brie and camembert class, and that goes into the history of the cheese. We do some pairings with that. It's quite a lot of fun. Probably my most popular class would be the Persian feta, halloumi and ricotta. And that's a really good class because, you know, like they're all very quick and simple to make. And then I have a blue cheese class for those blue cheese lovers. And what else? A burrata. So burrata is like, it's an Italian cheese. It's like a cheese money bag. So, and that's pretty delicious. And in that, you also learn how to make cultured butter. Then
Still doing any of the pasta?
I
or
do
pizza
pasta
ones?
and I do gnocchi, and during winter, I do the wood fire pizza and mozzarella class. Yesterday saying, why aren't you teaching vegetarian cooking? And I thought, well, I did, I have done. Why
Why are you now?
Maybe I should be doing that again, I don't know. So I guess if there's a demand for something, then I'll do it. But yeah, I used to teach vegetarian cooking in my 20s at the Coffs Harbour High School at night. And yeah, it's something that's, I'm vegetarian. I've been one since I was 12, 13 years old. So yeah, so that's something that I may introduce.
There you go. See, I'm sure people would have many ideas.
Hmm.
I still want to bring my kids out to do a pasta or a pizza
Oh yeah, great.
one. I think that would be super cool because they're getting into that.
My request is ice cream.
Yes, please. I said
Cultured ice cream. That's been my request for the last couple of years.
summer.
Yeah.
As
So-
just as a summer class.
Yeah, so when
should take
Mel
that
and her brother Wayne were young, they were never allowed to have, they weren't not allowed, but I
We
didn't.
were not allowed.
Let's keep it real.
They didn't have store-bought food, so the ice cream that they ate was homemade. Everything that they ate was homemade, most of it homegrown. So yeah.
Nice.
The ice cream was delicious.
And she needs the nostalgia.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant. And God, I think there's lots of people out there at the moment who are, aiming for that to not have their kids eat, all the processed and store-bought stuff. So that's another thing you're a pioneer of.
Yeah, and if you can do the ice cream as
Always.
cultured ice cream, well then at least they're getting some bacteria in their little tummies that that helps, and especially if kids have had to have antibiotics and things, that
Yep.
it's always a
Easy way to get
bonus.
some good bacteria back
Yeah.
in them.
There you go. There's maybe another course that you could do for people who want to make this. I know so many mums, especially mums with younger kids, wanting to know how to make all the different things so that they're not having all that store-bought stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Hooray. Well, there you go. Oh my God, we've got so much stuff. That's so great.